Breaking right now, a massive attack on the French rail network just hours before the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics. The country's transport minister saying the coordinated attacks targeted several lines, disrupting travel for more than 500,000 people. We are tracking the very latest. Also this morning, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. What we've learned about his separate meetings with the president and the vice president just one day after his fiery speech to Congress. Plus, the revamped race for the White House heating up as Vice President Kamala Harris accuses former President Donald Trump of backpedaling from his debate commitment. What the new polling says about the matchup and the battle to win over Nikki Haley's primary voters. And seating shakeup, Southwest Airlines, famous for its open seating, announcing its biggest change in more than 50 years. And that's not all. We're breaking down everything you need to know before you fly. Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Friday. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah Sellers is on assignment. We begin this hour with that attack on France's high-speed rail network. It's causing massive travel disruptions just as the Paris Olympics get started, with the opening ceremony now just hours away. France's rail operator says its network was targeted by vandals overnight in a coordinated arson attack that damaged its facilities in a number of locations. It's estimated that 800,000 travelers will be affected by the disruption over the coming weekend as crews race to repair the damage. Hundreds of passengers were seen stranded at one of Paris's main stations, waiting for updates after many trains were either canceled or delayed. The attack is a last-minute blow to Paris's preparations for tonight's Olympics opening ceremony. Thousands of people were expected to travel to the event by train. NBC News international correspondent Kelly Kobiea joins us now with more on this developing story. Kelly, good morning. So bring us up to speed on what authorities are saying about this attack, how it's impacting the rail network. Any word on who might be responsible?
Well, Joe, the Paris prosecutor has opened an investigation and said the organized crime unit is taking the lead. But so far, no one has taken responsibility for this. There's no indication of terrorism at this stage, but it is early. The attacks have paralyzed much of the country's high-speed rail network, just as hundreds of thousands were set to travel today to kick off their summer vacations, as well as travel to Paris for the Olympics. The French transport minister said it happened at 4 in the morning, that this was a series of coordinated attacks affecting the Atlantic, the North, and the East fast train lines. The head of the rail network in France, SNCF, called it a massive attack, saying that fiber optic cables at 3 locations were set on fire. Those cables connected to signal boxes and other infrastructure. He said one attack was foiled, an attack on the southwestern line, but the other lines are pretty much paralyzed. He said the attacks were premeditated, coordinated, and with the intention to cause massive disruption to the rail network. And of course, this comes on the opening day of the ceremony. The ceremony just hours away now. Security is extremely tight in Paris and getting tighter. The head of police in Paris said police are now reinforcing security at train stations in the city. Joe.
Kelly, do we have any idea how this is going to impact the opening ceremony? And do officials hope they can get things up and running quickly?
Well, the SNCF says they are working very quickly to try to fix the damage, but they said it's likely going to take a couple of days through the weekend anyway. But Olympic organizers say the opening ceremony will go ahead as planned. Here's what the French sports minister said a short time ago.
We're still in the process of analyzing all the impacts, assessing what we're going to implement as solutions, because it's going to have impacts also over the weekend. And we want this not to jeopardize the quality of the experience for the athletes and for the spectators. So it's a huge work in terms of crisis management, but we were prepared for that. You know, we had prepared for all scenarios.
And they have blanketed Paris with security. 45,000 police officers and gendarmes, including 650 specialist officers from France's elite tactical units. There's even a new army battalion securing a military zone along the Seine, Joe.
All right, so Kelly, putting this incident to the side, what can we expect from tonight's opening ceremony? I know folks here in the States are getting very excited. So what do organizers have in store for us?
It's going to be pretty spectacular. I mean, for the first time, it won't take place in a stadium. And another first, it's actually open to the public, expected to draw the biggest crowd ever. 100 boats carrying more than 10,000 athletes cruising down the Seine past some of Paris's most famous landmarks, including the partially restored Notre Dame Cathedral and the Louvre. And LeBron James and Coco Gauff will be flag bearers for Team USA. Lady Gaga and Celine Dion, both rumored to be performing tonight. And Joe, I, and probably you as well, will be among the 1.5 billion people around the world tuning in tonight.
Wow, I cannot wait. All right, Kelly, thank you so much. Appreciate you kicking us off this hour. With the opening ceremony set to kick off soon, and then so many events taking place outdoors, we thought, hey, let's see what the athletes should expect weather-wise for the opening weekend of these games. Meteorologist Michelle Grossman is here with a look at that forecast. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Great to see you. So exciting. Unfortunately, I wish I had better news. We are looking at the chance of rain. We have a big storm system across Europe that is bringing the threat for rain for the opening ceremony, the Parade of Nations, and then tomorrow, and then things start to improve a bit. So we'll look ahead towards that 7-day forecast. But first, we are looking at that large storm system with that trailing cold front. You can see UK is socked in with the clouds, northern France as well. That includes Paris, Germany looking at some rain right now. So we're looking at rain across and at least lots of cloud cover across Europe as we go throughout the next couple of hours. So that rain is slowly moving to the south and east of Paris, but we have drizzle and we do have the threat for showers and even some heavier downpours through midnight tonight. So something to keep in mind because we have a big extravaganza plan, something different than we've ever seen. And I'm sure, are hoping that we're not going to get lots of rain, but we do have the chance for some showers. It will be warm with temperatures in the 70s, 7:30 p.m. Paris time is when that opening ceremony starts. 1:30 p.m. Is when we can expect it. And the coverage begins, by the way, at noon. Very exciting. Now look at the 7-day forecast because unfortunately we do have a lot of events happening on Saturday as well. And we are looking at the chance for light rain throughout the day. Temperatures not bad, though. I think athletes would be happy with temperatures in the low 70s. And then we start to dry out, but then we start to warm up as well as we head towards the end of the weekend. On Sunday, we're looking at dry conditions, mostly sunny, temperatures in the 80s, and then we start to warm up. This is when it gets a little bit dangerous by Tuesday and Monday. We're looking at temperatures in the upper 80s, sunny and hot, but dry. Still dry on Tuesday with sun and clouds, temperatures in the 90s. Then by Wednesday, we're looking at a front that's going to bring back the chance for some thunderstorms. That creates tricky conditions when you bring lightning into the forecast. Still warm with temperatures in the 80s, and then by Thursday, looking really nice, temperatures in the low 80s. I think athletes wouldn't mind that with partly cloudy skies. But Joe, this is something we're going to watch over the next several hours because unfortunately this ceremony is going to be so exciting, so different than what we've seen, but we do have the chance for some showers in the forecast.
Might be a little wet too. All right, Michelle, we're going to check back with you in a moment with the U.S. forecast. We'll see you in a second. You can tune into the opening ceremony tonight on NBC and streaming on Peacock, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 Central. Turning now to Washington, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has wrapped up his controversial visit to Capitol Hill, part of his push for continued U.S. support in the war with Hamas. Yesterday, the Prime Minister met with both President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in two separate meetings a day after that fiery address to Congress. Harris echoed the president on the need to end the war and bring the hostages home.
It is time for this war to end. And end in a way where Israel is secure, all the hostages are released, the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can exercise their right to freedom, dignity, and self-determination.
The mood on Capitol Hill was tense throughout the prime minister's visit. Several Democratic lawmakers protested the speech. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian-American woman serving in Congress, brought these signs to Netanyahu's address. She was one of several lawmakers speaking out against his visit. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, in a social media post, said that Netanyahu's presence was, quote, the worst presentation of any foreign dignitary invited and honored with the privilege of addressing the Congress of the the United States. And outside the walls of Capitol Hill, thousands gathered to protest Netanyahu's conduct in the war against Hamas. Police clashed with demonstrators as some burned American flags and raised Palestinian flags in their place. We have a team joining us this morning to break down this historic visit, including NBC News White House correspondent Aaron Gilchrist, along with NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez, who's in Tel Aviv. Aaron, let's start with you. So Netanyahu met with both President Biden and VP Harris yesterday. What did we hear came out of those meetings, and how did the White House stage manage this moment with Netanyahu, given that Harris now is expected to become the official nominee in just weeks, and Mr. Biden is, in essence, a lame duck president with about 6 months left in his term?
Yeah, Joe, I think stage manage is the right word to use here. Look, it's not unusual for both the president and vice president to meet with a visiting head of state separately. That's something that happens. The difference now is that we're paying attention more to what the vice president is doing, obviously, now that she is the candidate for president coming out of this administration. The other thing that's different here is that the vice president is the one who made the statement. That is a part of the careful choreography that the White House is now having to do. The president and the White House are very much in the mindset that there is one president at a time in this country. That's something we heard repeatedly as that transition from the Trump administration to the Biden administration was happening. And so in this instance, they wanted to make sure that President Biden had his time to meet with the prime minister, that they were able to spend this time together and have a conversation about the things you noted there. The readouts from both the president and vice president indicated they talked about the need for getting a deal done, for arriving at a ceasefire and getting hostages out of Gaza, as well as getting more help into the people of Gaza who are still suffering. And so that was really what came out of both the meeting with the president and the vice president. There wasn't much daylight in the readouts that we saw, Joe, in terms of what they discussed and the importance of pressing Prime Minister Netanyahu to get the deal finished as soon as possible.
So, Raf, we know Netanyahu's speech was met with major protests here in the U.S. How did folks in Israel respond?
So, Joe, Israel is a politically divided country, just like the United States. To Netanyahu's supporters on the political right of this country, it was a reminder of Netanyahu's strengths, that he is a man who presents himself as the only Israeli political leader with the stature to command respect in Washington, who can address a joint session of Congress for nearly an hour in perfect English, receive 50-plus standing ovations in the course of it. But to many of the hostage families, Joe, there is deep frustration that the prime minister did not have very much to say at all about getting to a deal to bring their loved ones home after nearly 300 days in Hamas captivity. The father of one of the American Israeli hostages said that it was basically political theater, that this was Netanyahu showing off to a domestic political audience. Remember, he is way down in the polls. Even some people on the right, his natural political supporters, blame him for the failures leading up to the October 7th terror attack. So the hostage families wanted to hear more about bringing their loved ones back, and no one in this country really heard much detail about the future of Gaza, who is going to govern it after this war, and crucially, who is going to pay for the absolutely massive reconstruction effort that is going to be needed.
So, Aaron, you mentioned the ceasefire deal. Just where do we stand with the negotiations right now? And we know that here, families of the hostages met with Netanyahu at the White House. How are they reacting to all this?
Well, Joe, we didn't get much detail either about where exactly the negotiations stand at this point. We know that there had been sort of a pause while the prime minister was out of the country and visiting here in the States. The understanding that we have from the White House is that part of the purpose of the meeting between the president and the prime minister was to talk about filling in the gaps, as the White House phrased it, to get a final hostage deal done. And so there's an expectation now that there will be some movement or continued movement in making sure that that happens. We did hear from the families that met with the president. There were about 12 people who met with the president and prime minister for about an hour in the White House. Met with them together at the same time. And the indication we got from the families after that meeting was that they felt as though they got a commitment from both the president and the prime minister that they understand the urgency of the moment, is the phrasing that some of the families used in talking about the meeting they had with the president and prime minister. They also said that they feel optimistic, more optimistic than perhaps they have since the very beginning, since the first time there was a deal that got some of the hostages out of Gaza. And so those are indications, Joe, that there is some movement happening. The signs may be good, but obviously, as we've heard over and over again, it's not done. The deal's not done until the deal is done.
And speaking of hostages, we should note Israeli forces say they have recovered the bodies of 5 hostages from tunnels in Han Yunis. Aaron, one more thing before we let everyone go. Netanyahu is now expected to meet with Trump later today at Mar-a-Lago. Any details about what those two are expected to talk about?
Listen, this is a relationship that has suffered some damage, right? We know that right after President Biden was elected, as he was taking office, the prime minister congratulated him on his win, and former President Trump said that Netanyahu could have stayed quiet. He was upset that the prime minister took the opportunity to endorse President Biden or to recognize President Biden's win when he did. And so both of these men now have an interest in trying to make sure that they can mend fences to some extent. There is obviously a possibility that former President Trump would be president again, and so the prime minister has an interest in making sure that their relationship can see some stability again. And the president has an interest in looking as though he can stand on a world stage and that he can be a statesman and a diplomat again. And so that's part, I think, of what this meeting between the two will be about later on today, Joe.
All right. Aaron Gilchrist, Raf Sanchez, thank you both. This morning, Vice President Harris is getting big-time support from some big-name Democrats in her presidential bid.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me.
It's a video released today that shows former President Barack Obama calling to pledge his support to the vice president, noting that his wife Michelle is also endorsing Harris. Aides to Obama and Harris have discussed having them appear together on the campaign trail at some point, according to 3 sources familiar with those discussions. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has the latest on the race for the White House.
Vice President Harris welcoming an on-stage showdown with former President Trump, accusing him of backpedaling from his previous commitment to a September debate.
I'm ready to debate Donald Trump. I think the voters deserve to see the split screen that exists in this race on a debate stage, and so I'm ready. Let's go.
Just this week, Mr. Trump said he'd be willing to do more than one debate with Ms. Harris, but appeared to balk at the current plan.
I agreed to a debate with Joe Biden. But I want to debate her, and she'll be no different because they have the same policies.
Their head-to-head is quickly heating up. New polling shows the vice president has narrowed Mr. Trump's advantage over President Biden. The race effectively a toss-up. On the economy, Harris slamming the former president's proposals as tax breaks for billionaires.
America has tried these failed economic policies before, but we are not going back. We are not going back.
Mr. Trump attacking the vice president.
She's the most radical person probably that we've had in office, let alone the office of the presidency.
In Charlotte, casting aside his promise from last week's Republican convention that he'd strike a more unifying tone.
You can't be too nice. You really can't be. So if you don't mind, I'm not going to be nice. Is that okay?
It comes as President Biden detailed his decision to drop out of the race.
I revere this office, but I love my country more.
Discussing his desire to unite the country by passing the torch to a new generation.
There's also a time and a place for new voices, fresh voices, yes, younger voices. And that time and place is now.
In this election, we each face a question.
The Harris team now running with its first campaign video. Set to the Beyonce song, Freedom. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, is facing new backlash for his past criticism of Democratic leaders, including Ms. Harris, for not having children.
We're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
Hollywood star Jennifer Aniston posting, "All I can say is, Mr. Vance, I pray that your daughter is fortunate enough to bear children of her own one day." And the second gentleman's first wife, Kirsten Emhoff, praising the vice president as a co-parent to the Emhoff children. "I love our blended family and am grateful to have her in it." We are in the early days of the Harris campaign, but they're already embracing a very different approach in both style and strategy. Stylistically, the vice president is a younger candidate embracing pop culture and appealing to younger voters who had been less enthusiastic about President Biden, but also perhaps strategically a different electoral map. The Harris campaign hoping her candidacy will mobilize different demographics, including Southern black voters in states like Georgia, where Vice President Harris will head early next week. Back to you.
Peter, thank you so much. One of the big questions that remains in the presidential race is which candidate is going to get the support from voters who once backed Nikki Haley. With this dramatic shift in the race, will they stick with the Republican Party or give VP Kamala Harris a chance? Well, NBC News talked to a group of Haley voters on Tuesday night, just 2 days after President Biden stepped aside and endorsed Harris as his successor. Let's bring in NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray to walk us through what they said. Mark, good morning. So what did the group have to say about a Trump-Harris matchup?
Yeah, Joe, NBC News was able to observe a focus group of 14 different Haley voters who voted for Nikki Haley during the primary season. And some of them actually had some nice things to say about Vice President Kamala Harris. Some of them had some really tough things to say about her. But what was really interesting was that all of them said they wanted to actually hear more, that she isn't really defined for them. And that's going to be a challenge for the Harris campaign over the next 3.5 months. And overall, when it comes to their vote support, Joe, you ended up having 3 of these Haley voters who said that they'd vote for Kamala Harris, about 5 or 6 who said that they'd vote for Donald Trump, and the rest who ended up saying they'd vote third party or not vote at all.
Interesting. All right. So we know for these Haley voters, as well as so many of the so-called double haters, age a big factor in the race between, well, President Biden and Donald Trump. On Election Day now, there's going to be an 18-year gap between Harris and Trump. So how important of an issue is age now for this group?
Yeah, Joe, this was a question that came up in the focus group because we do have that new dynamic now of Joe Biden not being in the presidential race. And there were really some interesting answers. Take a listen to what the focus group respondents had to say.
So let's talk about the age issue for a moment. Now that Biden is out of the race, is it persuasive for Democrats to argue that Trump, at the age of 78, would be the oldest person ever inaugurated if he won? That his age is a legitimate concern, and that it's time for a new generation of leaders to take over. Show of fingers. Who thinks this is a persuasive argument?
Can I put up half a finger?
I want to.
There's components that I agree with, but other components I'm like, no, that's hogwash.
Wait, hold on a second. What, Audra, tell me very quickly in the interest of time, what part do you agree with in all of that?
I agree it's time for new, younger leadership.
Because they were both too old in the first place, and we do need a new generation of political leaders.
You know, I look back and the world's different than 10 years ago. So I can't imagine the world that they were growing up in, that they think they know, that they've been separated from for so long, like a Trump or a Biden. And just the topics and all the issues are so much different, and they have to be handled so much differently because they're so used to a lens and a political philosophy that just kind of needs to change with the time.
Yeah, so Joe, as you ended up hearing, age is a factor, but not that big of a factor. And overall, one of the biggest takeaways I had from this focus group that was conducted after so many big events, like the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, the Republican convention, Joe Biden leaving the presidential race, is that how a lot of voters' perceptions about this presidential race haven't changed despite all the upheaval that we've seen.
Amazing. All right, Mark Murray, thank you so much. Okay, so earlier we brought you the weather for Paris. Let's take a look at what to expect on this side of the Atlantic. The south is going to see heavy rain, while in the Midwest, temps are going to soar into the 90s. Let's get your morning news now forecast with Michelle Grossman. Hey, Michelle.
Hey there, Joe. Yeah, you have that right on both points because we are looking at that continued unsettled south. We're looking at showers and storms. Some of these showers and storms could drop heavy rainfall. So we're looking at the chance for some flooding also, and that includes flash flooding. This is what radar looks like right now. You can see those darker returns, the reds, the oranges, the yellows. That's where we're seeing the heaviest rain falling. So throughout portions of Louisiana and eastern Texas into Tennessee and then along the Carolinas. And that's going to be the theme over the next several days into the weekend. weekend as well, unfortunately. Through the south along the Gulf Coast, the southeast, the Carolinas could see some heavy rain. It is all due to this cold front that is triggering these showers and storms. So another unsettled day, another unsettled weekend. The good news is the severe risk is low. We're not worried about severe weather, although we could see some gusty thunderstorms. The bigger problem with these storms would be flooding in spots, as we are seeing these heavy downpours with lots of moisture in the air. And when we see these storms move through, they could bring some flooding conditions. By Saturday, we're looking at more scattered showers along the Gulf Coast and areas of rainfall entering the Midwest. Now, in the Midwest today, the big story there is going to be the warmer temperatures, but we do have flood alerts for portions of eastern Texas. 10 million people impacted. Also included are the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach. You're included in that. Houston, Victoria, Corpus Christi under flood alerts. Where you see the red, that is a flash flood warning. That means we're seeing flooding happening right now, and that's going to be the case as we go throughout the day. It's going to move in from time to time, so just be careful as you head out and about on this Friday. Rainfall forecast, we're looking at a lot of rain. Where you see those brighter colors, once again, the reds, the oranges, the yellows, that's where we're seeing the heaviest rain or expecting the heaviest rain. So along the Gulf Coast into the southeast and along the Carolina coast as well. Otherwise, a really nice day in the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic. Temperatures are going to be on the warm side, but very typical, very summer-like temperatures, and the humidity has dropped. So feeling really nice. Warm throughout the Midwest and Northern Plains. We're looking at temperatures into the 80s and 90s, above normal for this time of year. So we do have heat alerts there for Fargo, Mission, Casper, also Scottsbluff. And we are also concerned about some fire danger out west. But look at these temperatures, Joe, in the 80s in Minneapolis, 85, 95 in Omaha. So a warm one there today and also tomorrow. Back to you.
All right, Michelle, thank you so much. We have a lot more to get to here on Morning News Now, including change in the air for one major airline. Why Southwest is ditching its trademark open seating. But first, a woman dubbed the Gucci Goddess sentenced to prison. The jail time she now faces after stealing more than $100 million from military families and spending it on designer bags and luxury cars. We're back now with news of the arrest of two major figures at the top of a violent Mexican drug cartel. The Justice Department says that the son of jailed Sinaloa cartel boss El Chapo has been arrested in Texas. So has an alleged cartel co-founder who helped lead the organization for 3 decades. Attorney General Merrick Garland said in a statement that Joaquin Guzman Lopez and Ismael Zambada Garcia, also known as El Mayo, now face multiple charges in connection with the Mexico-based criminal organization. The Justice Department did not provide details on how the two were detained. The DEA says that the Sinaloa and Jalisco cartels are at the heart of the synthetic drug crisis in the U.S. A San Antonio woman nicknamed the Gucci Goddess is now facing more than a dozen years in federal prison. She's accused of stealing tens of millions of dollars from the U.S. Army that was supposed to go to children in military families. NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra has the details.
The woman dubbed the Gucci Goddess is behind bars, where she's sentenced to spend the next 15 years. Former U.S. civilian Army employee Janet Mello found guilty of stealing nearly $109 million originally meant for children in military families, instead used for her own personal luxury, from high-end jewelry and fancy cars to lavish homes.
This was the largest fraud the United States Army has seen by a single individual.
Working as a financial program manager for the U.S. Army in areas including youth services, prosecutors say Mello created a sham business called Child Health and Youth Lifelong Development, or CHILD with a Y, adding that she routinely betrayed the trust of colleagues to get approvals, sometimes even forging signatures to fraudulently secure grants. The millions of dollars meant for military children instead deposited into her own personal bank account. The military families didn't see a penny.
Over a period of 6 years, military children who themselves make sacrifices as their parents serve our nation missed out on essential funding that did not receive the benefits they would have received if not for this scheme.
Instead, her scheming funded at least 31 pieces of real estate, like these lavish mansions and ranches scattered throughout the country, 82 different vehicles, like motorcycles and classic cars. Mello even spent $923,000 on jewelry in one day, just a fraction of the total spent for more than 1,500 pieces.
The forfeiture process is underway, and we're committed to return as much as possible back to the intended beneficiaries.
As investigators work to recover recover those misappropriated funds, Mello was sentenced after pleading guilty to 5 counts of mail fraud and 5 counts of filing a false tax return.
Ms. Mello was very remorseful for her actions. We believe that the sentence that was recommended by the guidelines was appropriate, and we believe that maybe she should have gotten something a little bit less. This was in light of the fact that she cooperated. She returned a lot of the money, and we expect that a lot more is going to be returned in the future.
But prosecutors standing firm on the sentence, saying 15 years is more than fair.
We need to send a really strong message that you will not be able to do this. We will not tolerate it.
Marissa Parra, NBC News.
Now for international headlines, North Korea is facing allegations of cyber hacking the U.S. and its allies in an effort to steal military secrets. NBC's Claudio Lavaga has that and other world news. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. The United States, Britain and South Korea are accusing North Korean hackers of conducting a global cyber espionage campaign aimed at stealing classified military secrets. But now the hackers breached computer systems at various defense and engineering firms, including ones that manufacture tanks, submarines, fighter aircrafts, Navy vessels, missiles and radar systems. Now, NASA and Air Force bases in Texas and Georgia were also targets. Now to Venezuela, where a critical election will be taking place this Sunday. Voters will decide between the current president, Nicolás Maduro, who has served 11 years in office, or the opposing party led by Edmundo González Urrutia. Now, González is a former ambassador and has never held public office, despite 21 million Venezuelans being registered to vote after the mass exit of residents during the country's prolonged economic crisis. Only about 17 million are expected to vote. And finally to South Africa, where they have appointed their first ever female Chief Justice. Mandisa Amaya currently serves as the Deputy Chief Justice and previously was the first black woman to be appointed as the Judge President of the Supreme Court of Appeal. Her historic term now begins on September the 1st. Back to you, Joe.
All right, Claudio, thank you so much. Coming up, his arrest made headlines all across the country. Now a hearing is set for today in Justin Timberlake's DUI case. But the pop star won't be in attendance. We're going to dig into the latest next. We're back with the latest on the DWI charge against Justin Timberlake. The pop star's attorney and prosecutors in Sag Harbor out on Long Island are meeting in a virtual court conference today. The singer, though, will not be making an appearance. Timberlake was arrested last month and charged with driving while intoxicated after allegedly weaving out of his lane and rolling through a stop sign. He was released the very next day and went on to continue his world tour. NBC News Now legal analyst Angela Senadella joined us now with more on this. All right, so we know Timberlake won't be there today. He's currently touring in Europe. Is that normal for someone to not appear at a first appearance like this one?
Yeah, this is a very standard pretrial court hearing, and it's between the prosecutor, the assistant district attorney, and the defense attorney. And it's really, the point of it is for the defense to understand what sort of evidence the prosecutor has, what was in the police report, what the police have brought forth to the prosecution, and see if there's any really potential for a plea deal. That's usually where this goes.
I was just going to say, there was no accident. No one was hurt in this case. So does it seem like the prosecutor and the attorney here could try and make a plea deal? What would that possibly even look like?
It seems to me like that is the most likely possibility. So I did notice that this lawyer is the same lawyer who negotiated the plea deal on behalf of Jason Kidd in the same area of the Hamptons over a decade ago. So I imagine that could be some sort of a blueprint here. So there's this DWI charge, which is what both Jason Kidd and Justin Timberlake have been charged with. That's a criminal misdemeanor. Now, there's also this DWAI charge, which is more of a traffic violation. That's driving while ability impaired. And so often a plea deal, which if you plead not guilty to the first and then ultimately do community service, can turn into a guilty plea with regards to the second, if that makes sense. So what Jason Kidd was required to do was community service, to talk to high school students in Long Island and to warn them about the dangers of drunk driving, given Timberlake's celebrity as well, I imagine
Yeah,
it would be similar.
And would avoid prison time.
Exactly, avoid prison time and just be a traffic violation.
Let's assume there is no plea deal. This moves forward, whether it goes to trial or something further down the line. So far, this has not impacted Timberlake's tour. He's been able to stay where he is right now in Europe. Could that change? There hits a point where he would have to start making court appearances in person, right?
Yes, so if it does go to trial, he would have to be there. And in the state of New York, a DWI trial usually happens within 3 months. So that means that he would have to be there. It would be a 6-member jury. And that's really the only circumstance, though, that he would have to be in court.
Likely this would be a short trial, I would assume.
Yes, I would imagine very short. This is pretty common in the Hamptons. A serious charge, but not uncommon.
All right, Angela Sandadella, appreciate it. Thank you so much. It is soon going to be the end of an era in the sky. Southwest Airlines is rolling out a major shakeup that's already getting some mixed reviews from its customers. The budget airline is scrapping its unique open seating model after it saw major profit losses compared to its competitors. NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa spoke to the CEO about why they're making the change and when it'll take effect.
A major change of course for Southwest Airlines will soon start assigning seats and selling some with extra legroom, ending more than 50 years of its famous, or for some, infamous model of open seating, where boarding can build into a mad dash.
You got people just running in front of you.
And while some Southwest superfans are disappointed,
I love open seating. That's why I fly Southwest.
The discount carrier CEO says the move is a bid to boost revenue and adapt to travelers' evolving tastes, reporting 80% of Southwest customers want an assigned seat, especially on longer flights.
When a customer defects from Southwest to another competitor, it's the #1 reason, so it's the right thing at the right time.
Despite this summer's record travel, many airlines are grappling with overcapacity. Southwest recorded a 46% drop in profit from last year, facing growing rivalries with other budget options.
What kind of headwinds is the airline facing right now?
They have simply added too many seats when it comes to basic economy seats. In other words, the seats that people are buying at the lowest possible fare. So many have been added into the system, not just by Southwest, but by other airlines as well. It's put a lid on fares.
Thanks to Emily Aketa for bringing us that story. Now, Southwest says bookings for its assigned and premium seats will be available sometime next year. The airline's going to have to update the cabin layout and get FAA approval for the change. I want to bring in travel expert Mark Elwood for more on this. Mark, good to have you with us. I mean, I flew Southwest a ton when I lived on the West Coast. I enjoyed it. I got used to it, so I knew how to work the system and always get a good seat. But how big of a deal is it that Southwest is making this change, and could it impact the number of flights that are maybe available?
I love that you talk about working the system, because I think Southwest veterans totally have their own little shtick for getting that seat. Look, to me, this is a bit like a soap opera recast. The name is the same, but gosh, it's going to look so different. Southwest essentially is saying, look, everyone copied us. Everyone gave cheaper seats. To make it really easy to get a cheap seat on board, we're going to have to copy everyone else to make up the revenue shortfall. I think the big news here actually isn't just the open seating going away, it's the red-eye flights. Southwest always been, no, we're not going to do red-eyes. What a red-eye allows you to do is keep a plane in the sky for more hours each day and squeeze more money out of the same aircraft. And I think that is what's at the root of everything they're doing.
That open seating model was one of the ways I think Southwest was able to keep a lot of their flight prices lower than other airlines. Does this mean I have to assume Southwest flights are going to get more expensive, at least if you're getting those assigned seats? I mean, what's it going to mean for their bottom line?
See, here's the thing. I think what they're trying to do is not make their seats look more expensive while probably effectively making them pricier. They're unbundling. That's the airline terminology for basically not telling you what it will really cost up front. I'm sure there will be optional extras you can now buy, which will be seating and meals and extra legroom, you name it. So prices may go up, but it won't look like they are, and that's the dream for them.
Are you surprised they stuck with this for as long as they did when you look at how much money other airlines are making off of seat upgrades? And is Southwest, their change going to impact other airlines at all in what they decide to do?
Look, I'm astonished this has lasted as long as it has. I think the big issue, if you read some of the forums, it's all about people perhaps abusing the pre-boarding facility and essentially getting on board early without paying. That has been the tipping point on this. Do I think this will impact other airlines? Not really, because Southwest has been such an outlier. It's really just playing catch up now. So the sad thing is, if you loved old Southwest, get ready for a very new experience.
Is it fair to say, I mean, has Southwest sort of been caught in between like the Deltas, the Americans, the traditional airlines, but then the budget airlines, they've sort of been caught in this sort of middle ground?
It was the worst of both worlds. That's exactly it. Instead of being premium, which is what Delta has been trying to sell us before its meltdown last week, and very cheap, which was always Spirit's deal, pay we're the cheapest you can be. Southwest was neither one thing nor the other. And in the current world, that's not a great place to be. So it's pledging its drop and it's saying, you know what, we're going to be a bit more expensive, but please still love us.
All right, Mark Elwood, always good to have you with us. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Pleasure.
The worlds of crypto and politics are colliding this weekend in the world's largest Bitcoin conference. What it means for the future of the digital currency and the controversial speaker set to deliver the keynote speech. Next. Welcome back. Let's get to some financial headlines. This morning, Apple is leaning into some AI safeguards put in place by the Biden administration. CNBC's Savannah now has that and other money news. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, Joe. Good morning. Happy Friday. Yeah, so Apple is the latest company to adopt voluntary safeguards on artificial intelligence crafted by the Biden administration. Apple joins OpenAI, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and others in pledging to test their AI technology for any security flaws, national security risks, or tendencies for discrimination. Now, Apple is set to incorporate ChatGPT into its Siri voice assistant on the iPhone as part of a suite of new features. JP Morgan Chase is embracing AI. The Financial Times reporting the bank is rolling out a chatbot in-house that can do the work of a research analyst. Now, it's given employees in its wealth management business access to the chatbot, which can help them with writing and summarizing documents. Rival Morgan Stanley partnered with OpenAI last year, offering financial advisors access to all of the bank's research information. And General Motors unveiling the most powerful Chevy Corvette ever produced. The 2025 ZR1 has a V8 engine with more than 100,000 horsepower and a top speed of 212 miles per hour. GM says pricing will be released closer to when the car goes into production next year. The previous ZR1 model started at $121,000, Joe.
Very cool. I need a car that goes 212 miles an hour,
Right.
so that's going to come in handy. It's cool.
Very, very handy in this area.
All right, Savannah, thank you so much. Let's stay on your money and head to Nashville, where the worlds of crypto and politics are converging at the annual Bitcoin conference. The three-day event, touted as the largest in the industry, will feature presentations and discussions by top names in the Bitcoin space. And this year's headliner is former President Donald Trump. Joining us now is Steve Ehrlich. He's Director of Digital Asset Research for Forbes. Steve, good morning. Good to have you with us. So first of all, explain exactly what this conference accomplishes and why it's such a big deal for the crypto community.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for having me. I think you said it perfectly. It is a Bitcoin conference. Unlike other tentpole events in the industry that focus on Ethereum and Solana and thousands of other assets down the line, this one really is just focused on Bitcoin, its adoption, its development, and its price as well. So that's sort of that's the crowd that they're going to be attracting. They call themselves Bitcoin maxis, Bitcoin maximalists, and in many ways, they feel that every cryptocurrency other than Bitcoin is kind of antithetical to the original mission of decentralization and free money.
So what's different about this year's conference compared with others that you've seen in the past?
I mean, Donald Trump, as you mentioned, it's going to be his first appearance at such an event. It's going to be the first appearance ever for someone of his stature to appear at a crypto event. And it has the whole industry buzzing. I mean, last year they had people like Michael Saylor, who wrote a book on Sam Bankman-Fried, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. used the event to announce his presidential bid. But this industry has been starved for attention and frankly, a little bit of love from the government in D.C. It's felt like it's been in the penalty box for years. So when you see the 45th president saying nice things about crypto, they're more than happy to look past the bad things that he said about crypto back when he was president, when he kind of just felt that it was worthless and mostly useful for scams. And they're going to, I would imagine, give him a raucous reception, and they're excited to see what he can say. They're hoping that if he does regain the White House in November, he's going to put in a friendly SEC director or SEC chairman that could help loosen rules for cryptocurrency industry worldwide, loosen rules for the cryptocurrency industry in the U.S. and just make them feel like they've gotten out of the penalty box.
So Trump is set to appear tomorrow. That's the last day of the conference. Walk us through what his stance has been on crypto up until now, what we can expect to hear from him. And I guess this all, to me, begs the question, has crypto become a partisan issue?
All good points. I mean, frankly, when it comes to Donald Trump, nobody really knows what he's going to say until he says it. I mean, he ad-libs so much on his own speeches that sometimes he doesn't necessarily know. His policies, his knowledge about crypto, I think is less than some attendees at the conference will want it to be. For instance, one thing he said is that he hopes that all remaining Bitcoin will be mined in the United States, which anyone that knows anything about crypto would say that is completely opposite the point. It's supposed to be decentralized, and concentrating all mining activity in one country makes it susceptible to seizure being shut down. I would imagine he's going to say things like the Biden administration, Joe Biden, and now Kamala Harris have been disproportionately aggressive towards the industry. He's going to change all that, and that's going to get a lot of applause.
It's not just Trump. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to be there. Edward Snowden, who is the whistleblower behind one of the largest intelligence leaks in the NSA's history. What is the significance of having figures like that, somewhat controversial figures, on this stage?
Yeah, so I mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., this will be his second appearance at the event. Last night, he actually gave some comments. I think he mentioned he's fully committed to Bitcoin, and he's also referred to sort of, I believe, a parasitic relationship between Congress and the Fed, which I think might be a little unfair to the Fed, given that Congress has just been so unproductive recently because of just the hyper-partisanship that the Fed, I think, in some ways is sort of taking over certain duties of Congress. But besides the point, I would imagine that he's going to say similar things to Trump. Regarding Edward Snowden, his relationship with Bitcoin has always been a little interesting to me because obviously he's against government surveillance and so on and so forth. And by the nature of the Bitcoin blockchain means that every transaction going back to its history, going back for its entire history, is published on chain. So I think what he's really going to focus on are ways for Bitcoin developers to add additional privacy enhancing features on top of Bitcoin so that when people need to use it, not for illicit purposes, but perhaps to protect themselves from an authoritarian government, they are able to do so without revealing more information about themselves than necessary.
All right, some fascinating stuff there. Stephen Ehrlich, thanks for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time and your expertise.
Great, thank you.
Coming up, taking the plunge in a remarkable feat, a 16-year-old swam from England to France, and it was all for a good cause. What motivated her to just keep swimming? Next. Welcome back. A dog that went missing for 9 years has been reunited with his owner. Gizmo, a Chihuahua mix, was just 2 years old when he slipped past the gate of his Las Vegas home. That was in 2015. He's believed to have lived on the streets until a stranger recently picked him up and dropped him off at a nearby hospital. There, the staff identified him through his microchip. And just last week, the now 11-year-old was returned home in an emotional reunion. He had a few health problems, but is now getting all the love and attention he deserves from his owner, Judith Monares. It's the kind of miracle that might make you believe that anything is possible. I can't wait for the movie on that one. All right, finally this hour, a story about the power of perseverance. One teenager swam for more than 11 hours in cold, open water from England to France. It's a feat very few young people have ever done. And as she tells NBC News Daily anchor Kate Snow, she did it to help others.
Okay, we're here in Deal. We're supposed to swim tomorrow morning, probably. Solid foods, and then more of like our bags and our...
These were the moments of anticipation.
Getting it all ready and prepped to go.
16-year-old Maya Marriage jumping into the English Channel in pitch black at 3:30 a.m., aiming to become one of the youngest swimmers to make it across to France.
All right, Maya!
Her dad on a boat cheering her on.
It's pretty nerve-wracking, and I'm really thinking I'm either the most supportive parent in the world or the dumbest parent in the world for allowing my child to do things like this.
A year ago, she'd done a big swim in Hawaii. But the water in the English Channel is colder, just 61 degrees.
I saw 2 more jellies.
And there were jellyfish, but she just kept swimming.
Open water swimming is 20% physical and 80% mental.
You got this!
She wasn't just doing it for fun. With every ultramarathon swim, she raises money for cancer research through the organization Swim Across America.
It's something that everyone has dealt with in some way. Cancer hurts everybody.
On her swim cap, she writes the names of people in her own life who've been touched by cancer. Maya's had her own health battle this past year, a benign tumor that ruptured. Just after qualifying to swim the English Channel, she was hospitalized in Ohio.
The second I got out of the hospital, I was like, I still want to do this. And my parents were like, we can try.
As she approached the coast of France, she had to hit a current just right.
We are this close. I had been swimming for 11 hours at this point, and they were like, you have to sprint.
To swim fast.
Yeah, as fast as I could.
I don't know if she quite realizes how close she is right now.
For the last 100 yards, her dad was right next to her.
Hey, Maya, you got this!
She reached the rocky shore.
Yeah, we pulled her under the boat, and I immediately hugged her. You can breathe a sigh of relief, and it's, okay, we got it done.
At 16, she's now completed 3 of the world's toughest open water swims, known as the Triple Crown.
Seeing her finally accomplish it and getting it done is really brings so much joy and happiness.
Did you cry?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit.
I think that it's so important to find something that you're passionate about in life. You can use that to help other people and to inspire other people.
Our thanks to Kate Snow for sharing that story. Maya told her now that she's done the Triple Crown, she wants to finish what's called the Ocean 7. That means tackling more swims in waters near Japan, Spain, Ireland, Scotland, and New Zealand. Pretty cool. And thankfully, there's not an Ocean's 11. That's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now. But stick with us. The news continues right now. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. I'm Joe Fryer. Savannah is on assignment. Breaking overnight, travel chaos in the hours leading up to Paris's opening ceremony. France's national railway company saying a massive attack has kneecapped several high-speed rail lines there. It's disrupting vital service for hundreds of thousands of commuters, travelers, and Olympic spectators alike. We'll bring you the very latest as the City of Light's shining moment is thrown into jeopardy. Also new this morning, a critical endorsement for Vice President Kamala Harris. Former President Barack Obama now officially throwing his support behind the presumptive Democratic nominee. We've got more from his phone call and what it could mean for her campaign as the Vice President now calls on former President Trump to meet her on the debate stage. Plus, changes in the air at Southwest Airlines, the company announcing it'll scrap its decades-old open seat policy in favor of what its CEO calls assigned and premium seating. But why now? And how are travelers reacting to this switch up in the skies? And later in the hour, the highly anticipated return of Deadpool and Wolverine to the big screen. How are fans and critics reacting? We'll scratch the surface and bring you everything else from the world of entertainment you simply can't miss this weekend. We're going to begin this hour with our build-up to tonight's highly anticipated Paris Olympics opening ceremony. The celebration has been billed as the greatest open-air show on Earth, unfolding along the River Seine. It's the first time the opening ceremony is being held on the water, but the excitement is being overshadowed by an overnight arson attack on France's rail network, which is causing massive travel disruptions. NBC News Now anchor Tom Yamas has more from Paris.
This morning, final touches as the City of Light is getting ready to dazzle the world, counting down to a Summer Games like no other, and one of the most ambitious Olympic kickoffs ever.
Tell me, like, the moment you found out you're going to the opening ceremony.
I was ready to cry. I mean, because when I hit that button, the submit button, I'm not a religious person, but I did a little prayer.
Miko Anderson is an American living in Paris. She could not believe her luck when she won 4 tickets to the opening ceremony from an Olympic lottery. They will witness history. It will be the first opening ceremony to be held outside of a stadium and on the water. The floating celebration departing Notre Dame Cathedral, traveling down the River Seine. Nearly 100 boats carrying more than 10,000 athletes sailing through the city's landmarks. Place de la Concorde, the Esplanade des Invalides, past the Alexander III Bridge and the Grand Palais, reaching the spectacular Eiffel Tower. More than 300,000 spectators will sit on bleachers built on the sides of the river and over bridges along the 4-mile-long route. The USA has nearly 600 competitors, led by flag bearers LeBron James, the NBA star and Olympic veteran, and Coco Gauff, the first tennis player and the youngest athlete ever to carry the USA flag. Anticipation growing around the opening ceremony's performers. French-Canadian star Celine Dion and Lady Gaga spotted in Paris, rumored to be special guests on a night to remember. Celine finding time to take in the famous Louvre. The opening ceremony, a logistical and security challenge for the organizers.
Parts of Paris right now are like a security fortress. You have layers of security, including police, soldiers, even security guards.
As the world pauses to watch the opening ceremony, competition here underway. Team USA's women's soccer off to a strong start. The young squad sending a message with a decisive win over Zambia during their first Olympic action last night. Swimming kicking off on Saturday with 7-time gold medalist Katie Ledecky back in the pool, ready to make history as the greatest female swimmer of all time. And the unstoppable U.S. women's gymnastics team posing for photos ahead of their Sunday debut. First Lady Jill Biden leading the U.S. delegation now in Paris, showing her support for the red, white, and blue.
We are all, first and foremost, Team USA.
All right, let's bring in Tom. Thanks for that report. Let's bring in NBC's chief international correspondent, Keir Simmons. Keir, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, he will. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
So let's talk about this train chaos. Clearly a big blow to organizers so close to the opening ceremony. What's the latest on this? How's it expected to impact tonight's event?
Well, the rail service here in France is saying 250,000 will be affected just today. We're actually at a watch party overlooking the Seine. You can see this beautiful view with the Eiffel Tower. A couple of their guests haven't been able to make it from another part of France because of this disruption. So it is serious. And the French Prime Minister is saying that their intelligence services are working to track down who is responsible. One attack was foiled, according to reports, but a number have clearly had a substantial impact. Who is to blame for this? That is still not clear, but you have to assume that the idea was to target the opening ceremony of the Olympics, target in the sense of disrupt it because of the timing of all of this.
So putting this incident to the side, let's talk about this unique opening ceremony along the famous River Seine. How is it all going to unfold? What should we be watching out for?
Well, Joe, let me not just tell you, let me show you, because look at this view with this view of the Seine and this watch party that we've had a chance to be a part of. You can see the Eiffel Tower there and the bridge. This is where the end of the opening ceremony will take place. The Trocadero is just to the right of that bridge there. And as we pan along, you can see that there are screens to watch the opening ceremony on. So if you're in one part of the river, you can still watch the whole thing because it runs 4 miles along the river there behind me. In the distance, those golden statues, that's the Alexander III Bridge. It will come, Team USA and all of the other athletes will come all along here. We're told 4,000 artists and dancers and entertainers will be taking part in what will be just an historic event. We've been saying it, but you can't say it enough. The first time that an opening ceremony has been held outside of a stadium. And, you know, not just just that, just the endeavor of it, the ambition of it, to do it on the Seine River. There have been so many worries. And yet, I got to tell you, Joe, right now we've been down there. It feels relaxed. There's a lot of security. You know, there are police, there are Olympic security guards, but there are a lot of folks turning up for a chance to watch. And you can still find spaces. If you get a ticket, if you have a ticket for the bleachers along these bridges and along the bank, well, that is the golden ticket.
No kidding. Although you've got a pretty good watch party location right there. I'm a little bit jealous of where you're going to be taking it all in there, Keir.
That's right.
All right. Keir Simmons, thank you so much.
They call it work, Joe. It's work.
I know you are working. You are working hard. Let's be very fair. You are working hard, but hopefully you get to take it all in. Keir, we appreciate everything. Enjoy the opening ceremony tonight. All right. With the action at the games underway, that means our colleagues at NBC Sports are already pulling out all the stops. They are working hard. Mark Santia, a reporter with our New York affiliate here, went to Stamford, Connecticut to get a behind-the-scenes look at the massive operation happening there.
3,600 miles west of Paris, France, is NBC's International Broadcast Center here in Stamford, Connecticut.
Well, how long does the cut need to be?
Where one of the largest team sports is set to begin. The game, bringing you the Olympic Games.
We've never tried something so comprehensively large.
With nearly 2,000 team members here, NBC is getting ready to make Olympic broadcast history, starting with the opening ceremony.
This is physically moving 6 kilometers up the Seine, passing some of the world's most memorable landmarks. There are about 140 cameras covering the length of the parade.
Daryl Jefferson is a senior VP quarterbacking the engineering plan that includes 488 million minutes of live coverage.
It's a dream come true for us.
Stroll around the sprawling complex and you'll find
this room is affectionately known as the Highlights Factory, and as the name implies, we create a lot of highlights every day. In a couple of days, we're going to have 50 events going on at one time, and the people around here capture them all.
And these highlights have gone high tech.
We worked with our engineering team to kind of build a great workflow that QCs captions, we have human edited captions, and then it transcodes into SDR for our digital platforms.
Welcome to what's called the off-tube factory. It's here where some of the announcers in Stamford call some of the games in Paris. And this is the research room where all information is given to all NBC staff and production.
The room really is the brain trust of the entire operation.
Meet some of the team.
Annie, fencing, diving, 3x3 basketball.
Bryce, tennis, golf, cycling, and surfing.
We're sort of like the point guard of the team. We're like dishing out the info that people need to get.
CG Spear, beach volleyball, breaking or breakdancing, canoe, and table tennis.
Wendy, swimming. My name is Maria. This is my 19th Olympics, and I track medals.
And this team here in Connecticut are all working together, going for gold, including an anchor you've seen on News 4 New York.
It's amazing. It feels like the epicenter of it all because there are so many people here in Connecticut. Everybody around here is just so excited to have it in Paris and to have it here at home, too.
I love how one person's job is to track the medals. All right, our thanks to Mark Santia for that inside look. You can tune into the opening ceremony tonight on NBC and streaming on Peacock, 7:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Central. This morning, Vice President Kamala Harris is getting a major endorsement in the 2024 race. Overnight, former President and First Lady Barack and Michelle Obama officially threw their support behind the Harris campaign. NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell joins us now with more on that. Kelly, good morning.
Morning, Joe. So one of the biggest names in the Democratic Party is among the last to go all in for Kamala Harris. Aides to former President Obama say he wanted to give President Biden his moment. And the announcement is also tied to previewing what's coming up this weekend, where the Harris campaign is planning a weekend of grassroots action. And that is to mark Sunday, which is 100 days to the election.
New this morning, the candidate takes their call.
Kamala.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey there. In a moment made for social media, the Obamas offering a cell phone endorsement.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
The former president and Mrs. Obama pledging to campaign for Harris.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you.
This is going to be historic.
Oh my goodness. Michelle, Brock, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you.
Today, new attention on her role as vice president.
Welcome, Mr. Prime Minister.
And as a candidate, calling on former President Trump to debate.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Mr. Trump's campaign says it would be inappropriate to schedule a Harris debate until she is formally nominated, suggesting Democrats could change again, though enough delegates have endorsed Harris to make her the de facto nominee. Harris posting overnight, "What happened to anytime, any place?" Her campaign also rolled out its first video, "Running on Freedom," set to the music of Beyonce. Also joining TikTok, where young voters live, and going to core Democratic voters with an endorsement from the American Federation of Teachers.
And we are fighting for the future.
The Trump campaign is shifting its focus to the vice president.
She's actually, I think, a much worse candidate.
The race appears competitive. A New York Times Siena poll showing Trump with 48% support from likely voters, with Harris at 47%, within the margin of error. After the Trump-Biden debate, the same poll showed Mr. Trump ahead of President Biden by 6 points. So Vice President Harris will be doing internal meetings today, nothing public, while her husband, Doug Emhoff, will be hitting the battleground state of Wisconsin this weekend. Former President Trump is speaking at a conservative conference later today, and the Republican ticket will have a joint rally in Minnesota. So we'll see former President Trump and Senator Vance together tomorrow. Joe?
All right, Kelly, thank you so much. Today, it's former President Trump's turn to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It comes after Netanyahu sat down with both President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in separate meetings. NBC News Chief Foreign Affairs Correspondent Andrea Mitchell has the latest.
When Prime Minister Netanyahu meets with former President Trump today, he's expected to hear a very different message. Mr. Trump wants the war to end quickly, but with overwhelming force by the Israeli military. All this after the Israeli leader praised Mr. Trump effusively for his leadership during his speech to that joint meeting of Congress. Today's meeting comes after a high-stakes White House meeting with President Biden.
Well, welcome back, Mr. Prime Minister. We've got a lot to talk about.
I want to thank you for 50 years of public service.
But with the president now out of the 2024 race, time is running out for him to get a ceasefire and bring the hostages home. Almost 10 months since they were kidnapped on October 7th. The vice president then one-on-one with the Israeli leader, telling him she's concerned about the scale of human suffering in Gaza.
It is time to get this deal done, and let's provide much-needed relief to the Palestinian people. We cannot look away in the face of these tragedies. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to the suffering, and I will not be silent.
Meanwhile, the president ramped up the pressure on Netanyahu by inviting the American hostage families to join him and the Israeli leaders so he could hear their concerns.
We got absolute commitment from the Biden administration and from Prime Minister Netanyahu that they understand the urgency and to complete this deal as it currently stands.
We spoke with Aviva Siegel.
He needs to be in Israel. There's a deal just to be signed, and he needs to sign the deal.
Aviva was taken hostage on October 7th and released after 51 days, leaving behind her husband, Keith, who remains a hostage in Gaza.
I don't understand how Keith is still there for 293 days, thrown on a mattress, because it's so cruel.
And near the White House, another day of pro-Palestinian protests, after hundreds demonstrated Wednesday outside the Capitol, painting anti-Semitic graffiti, burning an American flag, and raising Palestinian flags, while the Israeli leader was addressing a joint meeting of Congress. Congressional leaders in both parties condemned the protesters' violent actions, as did Vice President Harris. The Prime Minister is expected to come back to Washington this afternoon from Florida, delaying his return to Israel until tomorrow to observe the Jewish Sabbath in the U.S.
All right, Andrea, thank you. Turning now to the severe weather out west in Northern California, a man now under arrest accused of sparking the state's largest active wildfire this year. As of late Thursday, the Park Fire had spread to more than 120,000 acres, damaging multiple homes. NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky joins us now from Chico, California with the latest. Morgan, good morning. So the Park Fire has forced widespread evacuation orders and warnings in addition to devastating many homes. What's the situation this morning?
Yeah, Joe, it has continued to grow incredibly rapidly here just north of us in Chico. In day one, we saw it burn more than 50,000 acres. At last check, it's now burned more than 150,000 acres, thanks in large part to just vast wooded areas that high winds have pushed these flames through, forcing those evacuations, as you mentioned. Fortunately, no deaths, no injuries to report right now, Joe, but I can tell you that this particular fire is bringing a bit of frightening deja vu in that it was 6 years ago we had more than 80 people killed in the deadly fire in Paradise that destroyed 90% of that town. Some of those town survivors, Joe, resettled in a neighborhood here in North Chico that had to be evacuated because of this very fire. So this is a community that has seen the destruction firsthand, and that is why there is still a lot of folks on edge here, even though for the most part this fire appears to be burning to the north, away from the more populated areas here. Joe?
Sign of just how hard it can be to escape the threat of these wildfires these days. So, I mean, Morgan, a surprising number of wildfires are started by arson. We now know a 42-year-old man has been arrested for sparking the massive wildfire. What do we know about this suspect and how police believe he started it?
Yeah, authorities took him into custody and announced some more details about how they believe this started, saying that this man on Wednesday afternoon was witnessed pushing a flaming car into a ravine. The reason still unknown. He has been taken into custody. He is facing those arson charges, but we don't know exactly what motivated him to do so. And, Joe, they say that they believe that flaming car was the catalyst for this now more than 150,000 acre fire, the largest in our state, that is currently, at last check, just 3% contained.
And there's another major fire just over the border in Oregon. It's called the Durkee Fire. What more can you tell us about that one?
Yeah, that's burning in an incredibly rural area here, Joe. That's the largest in the country. It's already burned more than 250,000 acres, shutting down various roadways through that area. It's not highly populated. That said, it has burned an incredibly vast area of land. The cause, they believe, was a lightning strike that actually took place more than a week ago. But due to the remote nature of where this fire is burning, crews are having a tough time getting into position, cutting those fire lines and slowing the spread. Not helping anyone in any state on the West Coast, Joe, is the fact that we're anticipating triple-digit temps for at least the next several days. That Durkee fire, so big here, Joe, experts say that it's created its own what they call fire thunderstorms, these pyrocumulus clouds, because it's putting up such intense heat. That is a concern because it can carry smoke and ash even farther, even potentially spawning a lightning strike that could in turn, start another fire. Joe?
Unreal. All right, Morgan Chesky, thank you so much. Let's get a look at what to expect this weekend with your Morning News Now weather forecast. Meteorologist Michelle Grossman's with us. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. And we'll start with the fire since Morgan was just talking about the fire threat. We do have red flag warnings all across the west into portions of the Intermountain West. And we are concerned for those dry thunderstorms that Morgan touched upon. What is a dry thunderstorm? Well, it's a thunderstorm that happens aloft. The rain falls, it evaporates entirely or mostly. And so it doesn't hit the ground. It doesn't hydrate the dry vegetation. And then that lightning strike happens and we get that fire going. We have that outflow from the thunderstorm and that creates the wind that's going to push that fire. So that's something that we're going to be concerned about. We have air quality alerts all throughout the Intermountain West, throughout the West as well. And this smoke is blowing all the way to portions of the Midwest. So this is something we're going to be concerned about. And keep in mind, the wildfire season is until the peak season, at least, is until October. So we have a lot of months to get through where we're going to be talking about these wildfires, unfortunately. Here are the red flag warnings. It's hot, it's windy. Where you see the red, those are the red flag warnings. We have fire weather watches. We have critical risks, too, in portions portions of the Dakotas and also western Nebraska. Let's talk about the rest of today because still sunny and warm in the west. It's going to be a really nice day. We'll start with the good news for the most part in the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley. We're looking at temperatures very summer-like, but the humidity has dropped. We had a cold front that moved through the Northeast, so bringing really nice conditions this morning. Storms do continue in the south, and that's probably the biggest story today. And then as we go throughout the next couple of days, in terms of the weather, we have a front that's kind of lingering there. It's triggering the chance for showers and some storms, and some of these will be heavy. That's today. Then as we look towards Friday, we're looking at those southeast storms continuing. You can see all that green on the map throughout portions of Texas into the Tennessee Valley, the southeast along the Carolina coast as well. Another beautiful day in the Ohio Valley, the northeast, New England, a Saturday stunner. And we're looking at monsoon moisture continuing throughout the Four Corners. Summer warmth does continue too in the west. Pacific Northwest, we're looking at sunny skies. Then as we near Sunday, showers and storms continue throughout the southeast. You're going to need your umbrella really today throughout the next couple of days in the south, although you've had that the past few days because this has been the theme for you all week long. But that rain by Sunday extends all the way through parts of the Ohio Valley, also the upper Midwest, the Midwest, into the northern plains. And we can see pockets of heavy rain, especially along the Gulf Coast into the southeast. And that's why we'll be talking about the risk of flooding into the risk of flash flooding for portions of the southeast. A heat wave through the central and southern plains. Lots of sunshine in the west and lots of sunshine still on Sunday through New England, the northeast. So the last weekend in July looking really nice in the northeast. Unsettled south, that is the main weather highlight today, or low light. We're looking at returns where we see those reds, the oranges, the yellows. That is heavy rain falling, and that's why we're concerned about the risk for flooding, especially in eastern Texas, western Louisiana, along the Gulf Coast, into the southeast and the Carolinas. You could see some flooding as well and could see some flash flooding. Because of that, we do have flood alerts. 10 million people impacted where you see the green. Let's start in the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach, New Bern, and then parts of Texas, Lufkin, Houston, Victoria, Corpus Christi. You see those red shapes. We're looking at flash flooding there. So this is going to pop in and out from time to time with that heavy rain falling in spots. And you want to be careful as you head out today on this Friday. And there's that flash flood risk. This is where we're expecting that heavy rain, where Houston and also portions of the Carolinas, Wilmington and Charleston. And Joe, this is why. It's just a whole lot of rain over the next several days. This is through Saturday, especially where you see those darker colors. So umbrellas, maybe movie days will be the theme, or watching the Olympics.
There you go. Thank goodness you have the Olympics all the time, all the sports you didn't even know were like part of the Olympics. You can watch it all. All right, Michelle, thank you so much.
Park yourself on the couch.
Exactly. Sure. Thank you. Much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including our continuing countdown to Paris's opening ceremony. Now just hours away, we're going to bring you a closer look at the long-lasting love affair between Americans and our Parisian counterparts. But first, after the break, a switch up in the skies. It's bringing a whole new boarding process for passengers who fly on Southwest. We're going to tell you all about it up next. We're back now with a major shift for one airline. After 53 years, Southwest Airlines is getting rid of its open seat policy. It's part of a series of new initiatives by the company so it can compete with other air carriers. NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa is live outside LaGuardia Airport with more on this. Emily, what can you tell us?
Hey there, Joe. Well, it's hard to imagine Southwest without that mad dash to find the best seat that would thrill some and stress others out. But Southwest CEO has said urgent change is needed amid plunging profits, and he believes, he's convinced that they can win back those Southwest superfans who are sad to see this end of an era. This morning, changes in the air for Southwest, scrapping its storied open seating model that once set it apart from other airlines.
Any change like this is huge.
Southwest CEO hopes the tectonic shift, adding assigned and premier seats with extra legroom along with red-eye flights, will help meet customers' evolving tastes. Amid the airline's plummeting profits, down 46% from a year ago.
When a customer defects from Southwest to another competitor, it's the #1 reason, so it's the right thing at the right time.
According to the airline, 80% of its customers have expressed they prefer assigned seating.
It's nice to know that your seat is secure.
While across social media, where passengers have shared their experiences boarding, reaction to the new change is mixed.
I'm not thrilled about it. I liked the open seating personally.
Thank you, Southwest. Now I can lower my anxiety when I get on this plane.
With the summer bringing in record travel, more than 3 million TSA screenings were recorded in a single day just this month. Airlines face increased scrutiny over safety. The FAA even placing Southwest under heightened review to ensure it is complying with federal safety regulations, following a spate of near-miss safety incidents. Amid stiff competition with airlines looking to fill seats, Southwest betting on this new business model to lift off.
This is a big deal and really changing the dynamic in terms of what customers will expect from Southwest.
So the airline expects Premier and assigned seating to become available at some point next year. Roughly 1/3 of the plane will offer that extra leg room, but the exact design layout, those details are still underway and will require FAA approval. As for that safety review from the FAA that I had mentioned, Southwest says it is working closely with the federal agency and that nothing is more important than the safety of its employees and passengers.
You know, I loved flying Southwest when I lived out in L.A. near the Burbank airport, but I do agree the anxiety of getting that seat was a little bothersome.
For me, it's stressful.
All right.
Yeah.
Emily, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's get some international headlines now. A powerful typhoon has made landfall in Taiwan. NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavanga has that and other world news. Claudio, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. That's right. Authorities in Taiwan say that at least 2 people were killed after the island was hit by a powerful typhoon. Now, the typhoon has been called Gaemi, and it is considered as powerful as a Category 3 hurricane. It hit the Taiwan Strait on Thursday, bringing winds up to 125 miles per hour, heavy rainfall, and dangerous storm surges. Among those killed is a woman crushed by a tree while riding on a motorcycle, and a woman hit by a parapet that fell from the roof of a house. More than 200 others were wounded. Let's go to Ukraine now, where tens of thousands of people were left without power after Russia attacked energy facilities in 2 regions on Thursday night. The governor of Chernihiv, one of the regions affected, said that at least 15 people were wounded in the attack. Over the past few months, Russia has frequently attacked energy facilities across Ukraine with missiles and drones, causing blackouts in many regions. And let's end this tour of the world in Brazil, where a federal court halted a project to pave a dirt highway in the Amazon forest, arguing that it could lead to mass deforestation and contribute to climate change. The 560-mile-long highway connects the city of Manaus to other populous regions. Half of its length is unpaved and becomes impassable during the rainy season, helping to keep forest clear-cutters away. The plan to pave it was approved in 2022 under President Bolsonaro, but it has now been stopped by a prosecutor who argues the project lacks a plan to deter deforestation. Back to you, Joe.
All right, Claudio, thank you so much. Coming up, a trip back down to Earth still remains up in the air for those 2 Starliner astronauts aboard the International Space Station. But there is some good news. What officials from NASA and Boeing say could be to blame for their extended stay. Next. We're back with the latest on the troubled Starliner spacecraft and the 2 astronauts on board. They've had to spend much longer than expected at the International Space Station following tech issues with the spacecraft. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch has the latest on the situation.
More than 50 days after Starliner's liftoff, this morning there's still no return date for the Boeing spacecraft or its crew.
We're making great progress, but we're just not quite ready to do that.
For now, astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams will stay aboard the International Space Station as NASA and Boeing troubleshoot thruster issues.
One did not perform so well.
Officials now revealing they believe a deformed thruster seal was largely to blame. But there's more testing ahead, turning what was supposed to be a roughly week-long ISS visit into an ordeal lasting nearly 2 months.
I have been up here before, and it feels like coming back home.
The astronauts speaking with reporters earlier this month, even borrowing clothes from crew members on the ISS because their luggage was left behind to make room for ISS toilet fixing equipment.
It's great to be up here, so I'm not complaining.
But Boeing's Starliner is billions of dollars over budget and years behind schedule.
Hold. Flight control receipt to CCLS, hold it.
Like the SpaceX Dragon, Starliner is supposed to support low Earth orbit travel so NASA can focus on deep space missions. Last month, Starliner's first crewed mission finally took off before those thruster issues on approach to the ISS.
ISS crew ready for final approach.
Now officials want to test fire more than 24 thrusters while the spacecraft is docked to the ISS. NASA also wants to conduct an agency review, which won't wrap up until at least late next week. And it's still not clear how the astronauts would get home if Starliner is not used for the return journey.
NASA always has contingency options. Right now, we're really focused on bringing Butch and Sonny home on Starliner.
Our thanks to Jesse Kirsch for that report. Let's get more on all this with former NASA astronaut and senior advisor for space programs at the Intrepid Museum, Mike Massimino, and friend of the show. Mike, always good to have you with us. So as we just heard from Jesse, officials believe a deformed thruster seal was largely to blame for this issue. Help us understand exactly what that means, what kind of problems it can cause.
Well, Joe, they experienced this problem as they were docking to the space station, that they had 5 of their thrusters fail. Once they got to the space station, they ran some tests on the actual vehicle, and 4 of those thrusters came back. So they're still down just 1, which is okay because they have 27 of 28. So the thrusters on board right now seem to be in good shape. But they really wanted to understand that problem, which is one of the reasons that they've extended the mission. They've been able through a lot of testing to recreate that problem under those same conditions that were experienced on orbit. They were able to recreate that problem. As you mentioned, the deformed seal is what they found. So that's a good thing. Being able to recreate the problem so now you can study it and try to fix it, I think, is a very good thing. It's a good sign. And they want to make sure they know what happened so it doesn't happen again. So I think all of this is actually good news. They're moving in the positive direction. The crew is fine. I heard the word ordeal used. I don't think they're going through an ordeal. I think they're actually probably enjoying their extra time up there, and it's probably a good thing in that regard. But eventually they need to come home. And if they can figure out this problem, that's a really good thing and a good sign, and that'll give us the confidence to bring them home.
I detect a little jealousy in your voice there.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being up there, Joe.
Realistically, I mean, how long is this probably going to take?
I don't think they know. It seems like they're getting closer to to solving the problem. I still think there's not any rush to bring them home. There's plenty of supplies on board for them. The more data they can collect, the better. The propulsion unit, the service module, does not return to Earth. So with those thrusters that they're studying, where the problem is, they're not going to get those back. They're going to get the crew and the crew module back. But that other part of it, the service module, will separate and burn up during reentry. So this is really the only chance that they have to take a good look at it. And it's not just this flight. This is a test flight. So, you kind of understand, right? They're doing tests. They're checking things out. There's 2 test pilots on board. They're trying to make sure the system works. But the next flight is going to be an operational flight where they're going to be perhaps paying customers on board, NASA astronauts on board. It's not going to be a test flight, so they want to make sure that the system works. I think they're doing the right thing, and they said too they have other options if all else fails and they lose confidence. They have other options to get the crew home, so I think they're sitting okay. Well, to answer your question, I don't know. I think it sounds like a couple more weeks at least.
All right, Mike Massimino, always good to have you with us. Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
All right. Coming up, should your next workout be fueled by AI? More people are ditching personal trainers and using artificial intelligence to get workout plans tailored to them. But are they all they're cracked up to be? We're going to weigh the pros and cons next. We're back with some money news. Google might have some new competition when it comes to internet searches done with AI. CNBC's Savannah Henao has that and other money news. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. That's right. OpenAI is testing a search engine powered by ChatGPT that could put it in direct competition with Google. OpenAI releasing a preview of Search GPT to get feedback from a small group of users and content publishers. Google overhauled its search engine this spring with AI-generated summaries that now frequently appear at the top of search results. They aim to quickly answer a user's question so they don't necessarily need to visit another site for more information. Microsoft is also testing AI summaries on Bing. Voice actors and motion capture performers for video games have gone on strike today. The Screen Actors Guild says it's been negotiating for more than a year with video game makers, including Electronic Arts and Activision Blizzard. They're seeking protections against the use of AI in the industry. The video game industry generates more than $100 billion in profit a year. And airlines are showing off new upgrades to business class as corporate travel is forecast to rise. At the Farnborough Air Show near London this week, Qatar Airways unveiled new features, including an in-flight entertainment system with monitors that swivel to the side, allowing passengers to view an even bigger screen. Turkish Airlines is adding adjustable doors with privacy panels to its business class cabin. Business and first class are the most lucrative sections for airlines, Joe.
It's funny, we've been talking about Southwest all morning. This is like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Total opposite. Yeah.
All right. Zamana, thank you so much.
You got it.
More people are treating out their personal trainers to feel the burn AI style. NBC News Digital reporter Maya Eaglin hit the gym to try a workout completely planned by ChatGPT.
No trainer would start you without a warm-up.
Right.
So let's get into it.
Warm it up.
Warm it up.
If you've ever worked out with a personal trainer like Bobby Westside, you've probably had a workout tailored to your needs.
What I would see is a little bit of lack of ankle flexion here.
With a little extra motivation sprinkled in.
Very good.
But there's a new competitor making its way into gyms. Personal workout plans made using ChatGPT or other AI platforms. Here's how it works. You log on to chatgpt.com or download the mobile app, and then type in what type of workout you want, including the areas you'd like to focus on. I wanted a similar routine to the one I did with Bobby.
Give me a 10-minute workout focused on legs and abs.
Then ChatGPT generated a plan for me to try.
Perform a regular squat, then jump. That's what it said. So here's the bicycle crunches. I think it's this, right?
Yeah.
And as you can see, there was a bit more guessing in my solo workout compared to the personal instruction with Bobby.
Can you make this workout harder for me?
Jonah Blatt, a physiotherapist in Ontario, Canada, has been experimenting with AI workouts for 7 months.
It really is hit and miss in terms of what you get out of it from a workout perspective. Some exercises make a lot of sense and were a really great fit. Others left me questioning why they would choose that exercise.
Blatt says he does a lot of his workouts at home, but anyone can customize the workout by letting ChatGPT know where they are, what equipment they have available, and what areas they'd like to target. Dr. Jeepak Chona is a sports surgeon and works with patients who use AI workouts.
Do you think there's any other pieces of advice for people who are deciding to use these AI machines for their workouts?
What you can get from these is a lot of useful information and a lot of accurate information. But what you can't necessarily expect is full comprehensiveness and 100% accuracy.
One study found that only about 41% of AI-generated workouts were comprehensive, meaning they included all 6 components of exercise. And if you decide to use an AI workout, one last important piece of advice.
I would really focus on what you're telling the AI when you prompt it. So that should be a very, very, very long prompt answering the questions that a trainer would already ask you, which is, what injuries do you have? What's your experience in the gym? Is there anything that you're not comfortable doing? You need to make sure that you're going about it safely.
Our thanks to Maya Eaglin for bringing us that report. Now, if you are thinking of trying this out, remember, as the piece mentions, safety is key. Experts also encourage new users to stick to their boundaries and check in with a doctor if necessary. Finally, this hour, it's Friday, which means it's time for your weekly can't miss list. All the shows and films you just have to see this weekend. Joining us now with all that you can't miss is Ralphie Aversa. He's the host and producer of Entertain This. Of course, no question what we're starting with this morning. We've got Deadpool and Wolverine back together. What are folks saying about it?
Well, can we start with what Taylor Swift is saying about it? Because
that's all I was actually wondering.
That's all we really need to know anyways. Yeah, what an endorsement from Ms. Swift on her Instagram, calling it, quote, unspeakably awesome. And the reviews seem to echo that as well, thankfully, for one Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, who have been everywhere promoting this film. Hugh tells us that he thought he was done with Wolverine, but Ryan, his words, pulled him back onto the dance floor. As for Ryan, had a lot of fun making it, very proud of it as well. All of the snark you expect from a Deadpool movie with perhaps a little bit of emotion tied in there as well. So expecting this to do very well this weekend at the box office.
Yeah, I feel like Taylor and Ryan are pretty close friends, so maybe she might be a little biased.
As we learned, a godmother to one of his children, as we learned also in that Instagram post.
All right, let's talk about some more movies. One is called The Fabulous Four. This has an all-star cast, Bette Midler, but it's getting some mixed reviews. What are you hearing?
It is Susan Sarandon, Sheryl Lee Ralph, Megan Mullally, in that as well. So they play lifelong friends who go to Bette's wedding, surprise wedding in Key West. They knew Bette from college, the character that she plays. And yeah, mixed reviews, but love and laughter and a little bit of lightness as well. If that's what you're looking for this weekend, this is right up your alley.
And so many people love all four of these actresses, so it might be worth checking out if you need something a little bit lighter this weekend. All right, nostalgic movies. Dee is a coming-of-age film about family. It did really well at Sundance, right?
Yes, it did. This is from Oscar-nominated filmmaker Sean Wang, who also has his grandmother in this film, too. This is really an ode, Joe. I don't know if this speaks to you, but to me, it's an ode to MySpace, to aim away messages, to flip phones, right up my alley, I'm not going to lie. And yeah, receiving some great reviews as well, including, as you mentioned, at Sundance.
MySpace, or was it Friendster around that time?
Yeah. I was trying to think. I remember my AIM screen name. I don't remember who was in my top 8.
I forgot about that. You did have all that. All right, nostalgic. Okay, here's one that I'm intrigued by. Decameron. It's a dark comedy series on Netflix about the Black Death. So that's definitely a dark comedy. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, 14th century anthology of stories loosely based on those of the same name. And you have a little bit of everything in this, whether it's comedy, drama, horror, and yeah, it gets pretty erotic as well. 8-episode limited series right now on Netflix. Looks interesting, to say the least. I really can't peg on this one. I haven't had a chance to binge it yet, and you'll find out why shortly. I don't know if this is going to be amazing or awful. I feel like there's no middle ground here with the Decameron on Netflix.
I'm curious if there are some parallels to today,
Right, with the people trying to escape some type of plague or death, and then all of these other things happening. I think so. I think it's a bit timely.
Okay, let's switch to television now. The current season of Drag Race wraps up tonight. Pretty special guest in this one. Talk about this.
All right, Vice President Harris will be making an appearance, as you see here. This was taped, according to multiple reports, weeks ago.
Really?
Before President Biden announced that he was not going to seek another term. In her appearance, Vice President Harris calls for the vote, really, and talks to the LGBTQ community and its allies, saying basically how important this upcoming general election is. As for the finale, I'm not even giving you a favorite because it's streaming right now on Paramount Plus, and I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, yep. Don't spoil it. People got to see who does it. I have not been watching this season, but it's always a super entertaining show. Before we go, let's talk about a new docuseries on Netflix. It's called Dirty Pop. So it's stirring up, reminding me of 90s pop. Talk about this one.
Some more nostalgia, but not as feel-good as Dee as we talked about. Lou Pearlman, maybe you know him as the former manager and creator, really, of the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Somebody who really helped to usher in that whole boy band 2K era. Perhaps you also know that his business dealings were, well, a bit questionable, and both the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC had severed ties. That is only a small fraction of this story. So I started watching the first episode, first of 3 last night, and I was going to then try to get some sleep. I had to go right through to the second and third.
So it was that compelling.
It is unbelievable what Lou Pearlman was involved with, not just the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all of those implications, but again, don't want to spoil it. So many other things. 3-part series, well done. You see AJ from the Backstreet Boys, him and Howie spoke, along with Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC. As far as at least those 2 boy bands, those are the only voices you'll hear from those groups.
All right, interesting. Ralphie Aversa, thank you so much. A lot to watch this weekend.
Thanks,
on top of, perhaps you heard, the Olympics are kicking off tonight. That is going to do it for this hour of morning news now, but please stick with us. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.